Welcome to Conversations with Canvas. Today's session is all about sketching, and I'm going to be sharing my favorite tools, that is the Micron pen and my favorite travel tool, which is the Faber Castell Graphite Aquarelle. These are the water-soluble graphite pencils. If you want to watch you can check these out in the channel. Also, now let's get started. So what am I going to be sketching today? Good feel of, calm and serene, and that pop of red is just magic. I usually always have a printout of whatever I'm sketching so that I can see the details much clearly. And I'm using the materials that I'm going to be using. Let's talk about the materials that I'll be using. I'm using a sketchbook. Now this is a Camel sketchbook. It has 270 GSM. This is the A5 size. I'm using a Micron pen, which is a 0.02. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using the Faber Castell Graphite Aquarelle. Now this comes in a set of 5. You can check out the review as I mentioned earlier on my channel. This comes from HB, 2B, 4B, 6B and 8B. So it's from hard to soft. Then I also have a water brush pen. This just makes the blending very easy. So let's get started. So I'm going to be first sketching with my Micron pen. I don't use a pencil while sketching because then you go into too much of getting into the perfect drawing. I want to keep it really loose. So I'll keep this over here. And let's start with the sketching. So now, also you have to be really careful when you're sketching something like a house or a building, is you need to be careful about the perspective and the lines. That is, you have to know where the vanishing lines are going. For this, you can check out the video on perspective. It's on my channel again. There's a detailed video on how you can get your perspective right without actually using rulers, just understanding how the perspective is. Like, I'll give you an example. In this, okay, this is a one point perspective because this is facing you and it's straight. You have one line which is going here, you have the second line going here, and you have the third line which is going here, but you also have this line coming here. So the perspective is going to be something, okay, beyond this page on the other side, okay, but it's a 1 point perspective. Now you don't need to go take a ruler and start measuring. Even with this, you need to understand that's going to be following the perspective line. So let's start with basically sketching the barn because that's the main thing in the reference. Now I'm going to be holding this 0.02 pen over here. I know that if I hold it here, I'll get really good lines which are going to be perfect. But I don't want to go into perfection. I just want to keep it loose. So holding it really at the back end. And you can see that the lines aren't straight. And you might be like, oh God, why is she doing this? But I tell you, that's the basic goal, to not go. Because if, I'll tell you, you go with these perfect lines, okay, you are like, okay, again, I'm not this is quite a generic house or a farm or a barn. There's nothing special about it. But what if we go with this, with slightly and maybe I'll be making some mistakes. It'll go a little wonky, but it's going to give so much of character to it. Okay, this gives it much more interest. It makes it more interesting. And we have some foliage over here. And now we come, so we know the points. So let's you can see it has more character. This one has more character. Now we know that this is going to be ending here. So we just need to figure out and yeah. So this is again, these lines are going to be all following the perspective lines. We also have the door. And we have a small window over here, which we're going to be drawing. So if anybody is watching this live, I would really like to know more about you. You can type in the chat what you love painting or what you love to draw. Again, this is going to be here. And I'd like to reply back if you have any questions. And that's it. We've got the sketch pretty good, pretty decent. Maybe add in certain details which are needed. Yeah, like this line is out there. You could also see the weathered, the stone. So let's go with a little. And you can see when you're holding your pen really at the back, it's so tough to make it perfect. Okay. Quite a good amount of details have been added. It's quite a weathered out barn, worn out barn, and we've got the details pretty decent. Now we come to the main part. Using these pencils, these are the water soluble pencils, we're going to start from light to dark. We're going to be adding in details which are the lighter areas. Okay, so I'm using the HB pencil first, and I'm going to be very lightly, with a very light hand, again holding it at the back. This area is white, so we're going to be leaving that the way it is. And you're going to be seeing the magic once I finish this. So we've got this. Now this area also has some amount of white, but mostly it's of, it's definitely darker than this. So we are going to go and try to follow in, maybe certain areas over here. This is lighter for sure, because the light is coming in this direction. Okay, so yeah, maybe even the background, I'm not going to go in with so many details about, the mountain or something. I'm just going to go in maybe just a bit. So we have the mountain, like at this. Thank you so much. And we're going to be going in, just using this pen. Okay. I'm going to be just going in with that, not too much of detail. I don't want to get into the details. And the reason being is, thank you so much. keeping it loose. Hold it at the back, keeping it loose. The first few sketches are going to be horrible. I'm telling you, they're going to be pathetic. But don't give up. Hold it at the back and slowly you're going to get some amount of control, which is going to be good. So maybe we can go on the sky also with this. We have the cloud, a dark cloud. And you can increase your pressure for sure on this. But on the whole, I would say go really light with it. So we're done with the HB pencil now. That's the hardest pencil, so it's not going to give in too much of color. Now using your brush pen, now I have got a really thin one over here, and I'll tell you the reason. Because when I go in with the darker colors, they are going to be super juicy. And when they're going to be super juicy, the problem that you're going to face is you're going to have too much color on hand. So I usually go with a thinner one, a thinner round brush. This is a brush pen. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to be using water, and I'm going to create this loose wash. You could also extend it slightly to give soft edges. And since this doesn't hold so much water, it's easier to create a softer wash without actually going overboard with the water thing. And now it's like, it's not visible and it's looking blah, it's not looking good. But just wait, let the darker shades come in, and then you're going to be seeing the magic happening. Because this is the initial sketch. Going in with the water. Again, just... Now, I would also suggest that you wait for these layers to dry. It's pretty done now for the moment. Let's shift up to a higher color. Now I'm going in with a 4B. Now this is 2 points ahead, like we have the HB. Now instead of the 2B, I'm going in with the 4B, and I'm going to go in with a little darker areas. Okay, now where are the darker areas? I have the foliage for sure. And you can see again, keep it loose. Not this area. This area I might go with a 2B. And yes, we've got some depth coming in. And again, this area. Also, I'd like to get that wood thing, looking really more visible. So, and these edges are kind of dark, and I'm going in with that. Again, here also we have. Also, this background is slightly darker, but I think I'll go in with the 2B at this area. And the reason being is, I want a contrast to be created. And this is going to be super dark as you're going to be watching this. So let's keep it slightly lighter, the background. Again, my brush pen to the rescue. And now you're going to be seeing the colors really being... I should have kept a bigger brush also, because this area definitely needs... And you can dissolve that, And now when you've done with this part, you know what you could do to add variations. Just go in with the pencil and you can definitely create more drama. Blend it just a teeny weeny bit, not too much. Take in more water, get the area wet, and you can see we have a smooth wash on the back. There is this darker area which I think I should add. And one more thing you have to remember is this, once it dries, once it's wet, it's very difficult to erase it. So if you want to erase it, you need to erase it, you know, in the initial layers. So yeah, that is like really juicy. Keep it slightly. You can see we have really juicy color coming in now. If it's looking too dark, always, or too sharp, blend it with more water. See, it's so beautiful. Again, on this side, we have add in and we're getting a good vibe happening over here. You've got the background really well. Maybe, you know, I could darken the clouds a bit. This cloud could darken a bit, and once it's dried, you could go in with more color or more of the graphite. Again, water is your best friend over here. And yes, it's more interesting now. Still, the hero is looking quite dull. That's the barn. That's supposed to be the, you know, center of attraction or the main thing that you have to look at. So let's get on the barn now. I've already added a 4B feel it's too dark, add more water. Water is too much, wipe it. This is more of trial and error as you learn. And the more you play with this, you're going to be enjoying it. Okay. So that's kind of weathered. And we need more things that are going to come in it. This is just the start. I love this dark now. Just let's blend it a bit. Yeah. Even here. Just following the, so giving it that rustic wooden look. Perfect. Now what's remaining is this. This needs to be really super dark. So I'm going in with the, maybe the 8B or the 6B. Let's go with the 8B. And this is like super soft, as you can see. And And we're going to go in following that path, or the direction, I would say, of the roof. And let's bring in the water and see how dark is this going to be actually going. Oh my God, just look at that. That really feels like ink. That is super dark. But you know what? Let's create some contrast over here without actually oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, that's really good. And we also, you know what, you could also lift in this and put some here. And if you feel, oh my God, this is going over here, take a tissue and dab it. And let's create some. Thank you so much, Musfira. I'm so glad you could join in, Musfira. I know you had work. I know you were really busy, but good you could join in. And we have this beautiful thing coming. And you know what? Now, let's add some more drama over here, because I think that dark color is like really lifting it up. This window definitely needs. And this window, along with this window, one second. Yeah, there's, you know, it's kind of dirty out here. So we can go with a 2B. We don't want to go too dark, though it's like really dark. But we will go in. I'm waiting for you to sketch it out. You could do watercolors, you could do whatever you want, but definitely share it. And if you're on Instagram, you can share it on Instagram. Just tag me and I definitely share it in my stories. So that would be a fun thing to do. Now, you know what? These can go a little darker with 2B. And we could also add some which do not have the outline. That just makes it more interesting. Another way that you could use these pencils, I have a full review on how you can use these pencils. I would just like to show one more way how you could use it. Let's take a 4B. And just wet your brush. Can you see that pigment? You want to spread it out. It becomes so good. Now we want to create contrast over here. So I will go in. I like to create contrast because that just makes it more, and you can go over it once it's dried with more darker colors. I mean, there is no limit to your creativity with this pencil. Go in with more water. Yes, definitely be, you know, a little open with using a lot of water over here. And yeah. Now one more thing that you could do. I'll be just sharing that. I had forgotten something and I wanted to show you. Use a Posca or an acrylic marker. Camel has a great range if you're in India. And now what do? That touch of white just makes it so interesting. And you know, this is an acrylic marker. So it's kind of like, it's opaque and it stays over it really well. Now you could wait for this to dry, like what I'm going to be doing, and you could go a little more darker. I think we can go a little more darker over here, just on the top. Also over here. And then take your brush again. Only your paper has to be good. Your paper should be able to bear this amount of water. And if it can, you're good. So you could use a watercolor paper. And the reason why I have left a little blank spots over here, because I wanted to show that, okay, there is some kind of variation. There is light, though this is like flat. But as artist, you should take a little bit of liberty to make it more interesting. Just wiped off that to give it that, you know, feeling of dark. And you can also leave it like that. You don't need to always use water. If you like that pencil look, you leave it as pencil. But I like to add that variation. Makes it more interesting for me. Maybe just a touch over here. Yeah. Perfect. I think it's pretty decent. And we've got a good amount of values happening over here. Nice dark and light comparisons happening. Contrast is really good. And yeah, let's make it more darker. Just a few dots. Dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash. Dot, dot, dash, dash. That really works really well. Dot, dot, dash, dash. Remember, dot, dot, dash, dash. Again, dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash. Yeah, you could, Musfira, I have it on my Amazon page, and the Amazon link will be shared in the description. So you could buy it on the Amazon link. This is a great product to travel with. Dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash. A great product to travel with. I have always carried this in my bag. A sketchbook, a water brush, and even if you don't have a micron pen, but I love the micron pen because it gives me a sketch to work on. This is like my travel kit. I'll be sharing the link in the description so you can, always check it out. So today's sketch was really short and sweet. I'm going to be coming regularly on Saturdays for a live. The timings would change sometimes because it depends on work. But there's going to be a Saturday live regularly on YouTube. And it could be ranging from acrylics, gouache, watercolors, ink and wash, markers, whatever. And the variety is also going to be keep on changing. We could have, like today I did a landscape. There could be other things which could be coming in. But yes, your suggestions are always welcome. You can put in your suggestions. Yeah, let's go in with this. Or even if you have a reference, put in a reference and it would be fun to paint along or do it along. So thank you everybody who could join in. It was wonderful having an interaction and chatting with you. And I'll see you soon on Conversations with Canvas for a lot of Art Mercy. Thank you. Bye bye. Love you.